What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Friday night. And so super excited to be here with everyone and back in business. We've got a very special guest on here tonight. We got Mr. Chris Counter all the way from the UK. And we got our main guy down here, Mr. Michael Coley, NC Relic Hunter himself, here to join
Oh,
in.
guys.
And we are super excited to get rocking and rolling on a Friday night. I know some of you may be tuning in to the football game, but it's still a little bit away before that starts. So we're super excited to have everyone in here joining in with us tonight. Chris, glad to have you in here. Thank you so much for taking your time on a Friday night and being very late in the UK to join in with us. But we really appreciate you being here tonight. You want to say some quick shout outs, Chris, to anybody or anything you'd like to say before we get rolling?
No, we don't need to do shout outs. It's all right. But thank you and Happy New Year, everyone. It's been a little while, I understand, since you've had one of these Friday night things. So I cannot think of a better place to be right now. So thank you so much, Brian. Of course, Michael, giving us the opportunity. Second time round now. And I'm feeling really relaxed. I'll just talk when I'm asked to.
No, we're so glad you're here, Chris. And yes, I had a rough go. I had so many plans for the last 2 weeks. I ended up coming down with the norovirus. My wife got it first, and then I got it, and it was just brutal. I mean, I have not been that sick in almost 20 or 30 years. I mean, it was bad, and it took me a while to get over it. And then, of course, just we had to try to make up Christmas and go see family, and we did all that the next week. So we were traveling. So that was part of the reason why we weren't able to get in our normal routine. But we're back at it, and we're going to try to be here every Friday night, 7:30. So stay tuned for that. And again, we appreciate everyone taking their time out on a Friday night to join in with us. And as always, we give some shout outs to our wonderful audience. We've got Mr. Damian Thorne in the house. Glad to have Damian. He's shivering. He's saying it's cold. Chris, is it cold over there in England?
Minus 20 at least.
Minus 20. What? Michael said it's cold in North Carolina. I don't think it's as cold in North Carolina as it is in
I don't think it's actually that cold, but it feels that cold.
It feels that cold. It probably does. A metal detecting with the CZ Kid is in here with us. Great support of the channel. We appreciate him being here tonight. Mr. Corey Kunkel is in here. Appreciate him being here. We've got the history digger, my main man, Mr. Rob, is in the house.
Hey, Rob.
Rob with us.
Hey, Rob.
Yes. And Chris knows Rob very well. We've got our good friend, Mr. Digging Darrell. He says, hello, Michael.
Hey, Daryl.
And Darrell, we hope you're recovering from your back surgery and you're doing well. And we can't wait to see you with us real soon as well. Mr. Doug Atkins is on here. Glad to have Doug. Trying to get through here with everybody. Mr. Johnny Bottles is in the house with us. He says he's got a couple of emojis on there. Face blue, smiling, hand pink, waving. Happy New Year's to everyone. From my main man, Mr. Johnny Bottles. Glad to have Johnny Bottles.
What a name.
Yes. Johnny Bottle. And I've actually, Michael and I both have metal detected with Mr. Johnny Bottles. Super nice guy, and always super excited to have him here with us. Mr. Detect Meister, he's all the way over there in Ireland, over there near Mr. Chris. So glad to have him in here with us. He says hello from everyone. Hello. Happy New Year from Ireland. We got my main man, Mr. Surfside Dan. Dan was with me the other day. We went on a little metal detecting adventure. Dan got to see me use that Deus too in a highly iron-loaded site. Saw me picking out targets left and right. But
nice.
We hunted in the dark. I mean, it was pitch black dark too. And we were out there.
Love it.
Digging. Yeah, but we had a fun time. Mr. Relic Jedi is in here. Glad to have him with us tonight. Mr. LC Hunt is with us. Glad to have LC. Edward G is in the house. Happy Friday. He says, well, welcome back, everyone. Workman's Adventure is here with us. Glad to have him. Mr. Buzzsaw is here with us as well. We've got, let's see, I don't want to miss anybody. Carrie Pope is in here. Glad to have Carrie. Thank you, Carrie, for being here with us. My main man, Mr. Metal Detecting Texas Matt is in the house all the way from Texas. Hey, Chris, have you ever been to the U.S.?
Yeah, I've been to Penn State before. I schooled in there very briefly, but yeah, I have been to America.
Okay, where at in America?
I mean, I didn't know it by state, you know, not
what state?
towns. I went to Washington State recently.
Okay, all right. So that's on
I've been there before. I've done the kind of classic visit the tourist hotspots. I remember seeing the Liberty Bell. I think it's in
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Pardon me. I just shouldn't have said Penn. That was unfortunate of me.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the classic things around there. So
okay,
I went up the Statue of Liberty. I remember going up to the very, very top where you can poke out through the top. I don't think they allow you to do that these days.
Probably not, knowing the way security is. My wife's actually in New York right now as we're speaking. But anyway, Matt is from Texas. You need to go check out Texas, Chris.
I'm coming over. I can't tell you when, but I am. Okay,
good. Richard Pelkey is in the house. Glad to have Richard. Mr. Ricky Bennett is in here with us. Glad to have Ricky. Mandy's Candy is in the house. She says, hey, Southern Relics, glad to have you in here with us, Mandy. Miss Bells is in the house. Always super excited to have Bells. Mr. Benjamin Ray is in here. Glad to have him with us. My main man from New York, Mr. Diggin' Dude. Glad to have Diggin' Dude in here with us. Always a fun visit when he's with us. Relics and Rings is in the house. Glad to have Andrew in here. Super excited about that. Old Pelon is in here. We're going to talk about Andrew's got some special things too. And if Andrew wants to do our normal thing, let me know. But yes, Andrew was in here, Mr. Relics and Rings. We've got Mr. Scott Ellis is in here with us. Mr. Chris is in here with us. Good evening to Chris. I'm trying to make sure, again, I don't miss anyone. DCM the Tex is in here. Glad to have him with us. There's old Lance McElwain all the way from, I think, is Lance in Alabama or Mississippi? I can't remember. He's in one of the southern states. Metal Detective Northwest Wisconsin is in here. Glad to have him with us. Drummond Detecting is here with us. Glad to have him. Mr. Gene Gilstrap is with us. Mr. Ralph Dykeman is here with us. Glad to have him. Let's see. Mark the Senile Detectorist is here with us. Mr. Stephen Dorothy, I think is how you say it. I could be wrong. Sorry, Stephen, if I butchered it. And David Frazier is in here. Mr. Greeny Meanie is in here with us. He says, I finally got my XP shirt for Christmas. He says, laugh out loud. Glad to have him. And we've got Don't Tread on Me, Metal Detecting. And Lance says he's in Choctaw County, Alabama. All right. So, and we might even have a special giveaway from Chris on here as well. So, and I'll let Chris decide what kind of giveaway he would like. So you definitely want to stick around. We're going to do some really cool things tonight.
Yep.
And we've got a lot to talk about. So I think a lot of people, I know we talk about it. It seems like every time we come on here. But I think a lot of people want to talk a little bit about the Deus too and what's going on there. Of course, you guys have noticed that they've been putting up these unique and versatile videos. I know you guys have seen them. We did that on the last live stream where we talked about the versatility of the Deus 2. And Chris, of course, is a big fan of the Deus 2. So, Chris, what is one of the main versatility features or the versatility of the Deus 2 that you like?
This is a great question. I'll give my default answer I've been giving for 10 years, actually, because the Deus 2 is an improvement on the Deus 1. It puts your multi-frequency technology in there, which is fantastic. But the main thing is your recovery speed. Now, I don't mean in terms of like finding your target and whatnot. I'm talking about you have a lightweight, efficient design that allows you to easily find quickly and extract, because it's lightweight, of course.
Right.
You extract whatever you're picking out and you can just get on with things. So you could sit there forever, maybe figuring out what kind it is and how big it is and so on. But the Deus 2, you just turn it on and go. You've got your settings already locked in. It'll find it easy enough and you can just hoof it out and away you go.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, I want to stop for 1 second. Jesse Smith just left me a very important message. Shout out to Cliff from Reaching History. He just found out he's got a tumor, and my thoughts and prayers are with Cliff. Cliff is a avid metal detectorist and a guy that I really respect, and he finds some great and amazing things. But
he's a super nice guy too.
Yeah, super nice, and just loves metal detecting, loves making videos, loves being out there. But my thoughts and prayers are with Cliff. And Cliff, if you are watching this or you see this, we're praying for you, buddy, and we hope that everything comes out really well for you. But we will definitely be thinking of you and your family as you deal with this. And I know you're a tough guy. And I know that good things will come your way because you're a resilient person. And I know that just from just seeing you on your videos. I know how relentless you are. So Brent, take that relentless way that you do with your detecting and take it to this battle. And we're going to be praying for you. But thank you, Jess, for letting us know that. And we appreciate that. And Cliff is a good friend of ours. So we really appreciate that. Okay. Johnny Bottles. He says, thanks for the program information. We'll talk about programs in just a few minutes. Chris was talking about recovery speed. You know, I go out and I hunt with so many different machines, but when I pick up the Deus 2 and I go into an iron field, I really love what I get out of the Deus 2. The audio, the performance out of that audio when I get into that heavy iron, it's just, to me, just tops. And really helps me in those situations. Michael, I know, agrees with me. Surfside Dan, he agrees with me too. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about how does iron sound over in the UK? Because I've never hunted in the UK. I know what it sounds like here in the United States. And is there a go-to program that you use on the Deus 2 when you're hunting an iron in Europe or in the UK?
It's more of a philosophy actually than it is a just one program that solves the problem. And here's why. I've detected in Australia where it has some very high mineralized soil, like red soil, and you get that in the States as well, as we all know. When it comes to iron, I personally, sense CFT is the way I roll. I've always got it locked in. I know we've talked a little bit about programs and so on, but you can make your Deus 2 with just a few button clicks. You can make it punch out or make it a little bit quieter when you're going over that iron. But you really, and I think you two will realize this, especially in colonial sites, because a colonial site and a Roman site are very, very similar in terms of the fact that the kind of I'm not saying pillars and mosaic floors, but I'm talking about like little iron nails or fittings or things like that. It's very obvious when you're over a place of habitation. And so you really want to hear that iron if at all possible. As long as you're, and we're talking about reactivity here now, as long as your reaction speed of your machine is quick enough, and that goes for any machine, not just XP, then you'd be able to isolate those individual things. So there isn't a go-to program as such. SenseCFT is like the catch-all. If you have a very high mineralized soil, you may benefit from, say, the general program, which hopefully the general program is don't look at it as like the early learning center, the child's play thing. The general program is fantastic. It is, everything is there. It has a soil substitution as well in there, so it analyzes the mineralized ground, and it tries to make it a little bit more stable. Me personally, it's a bit of a crank it up,
Right.
because I'm used to hearing like lots of noise going on, and it's picking out those small targets with the 9-inch coil, preferably.
Yeah. So here's a good question for you, Chris. One thing that we deal with over here in the U.S. is that when we go out of sensitive full tones, we see a 7, 8, 9 number that always seems to pop up on our nails and some of our iron targets. Are you guys seeing the same thing over in Europe when you come out of sensitive full tones? That's a question that I've really been curious about.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand this correctly, so when you say 7 at 9, you mean like it comes in as 07,
Right,
08,
yes. It comes
09?
in as 07, 08, 09, and it could be a mass target, but what Michael and I have found on the majority of those targets, you can take a chance on them. You might see, usually if it's a mass target, what it's showing is it might pop up at 85 or at 87, and then then you'll get an 07, 08, 09, and you're getting the good audio, but you're getting the VDI number a little bit different. And that seems like that's happening when we come out of sensitive full tones into all the other programs, which I believe is keeping a lot of people from jumping to those other programs on the Deus too. So I'm just curious if you see that.
So yeah, I have seen it before, and I do see it. And what we're looking at is the composition of the object that you're recovering. For example, and I know it's a big example, literally, but say you have like a nail, and it's like a rose head style nail. Now, this is something you'd expect to see from period 1600 through to 1850, quite a long period of time. You know, these are handmade nails, if you like, on a blacksmith's anvil. I used to throw out hundreds and hundreds of these in a former life, in a former role. And you know, the way that they're finished off is they would place it in the on the anvil, and they'd create back into a rose petal, you know. And you know, when your machine sees that, it is seeing something that has a slightly disruptive signal. So if it was just a flat nail and its composition was largely just iron, there wasn't any other things in there like tinning, or it wasn't something that was a high carbon, for example, something lower carbon, you wouldn't expect to get the 07, 08, 09, etc. But the object itself can be, you know, so I wouldn't look at it as and I know you're not saying this, but I wouldn't look at it as a bad thing necessarily. If anything, it's telling you a little bit about that object, and you can go, okay, it's an unusual object, probably iron, you know, etc.
Right. Well, you know, again, I have used a lot of those other programs, and you know, the funny thing was that when the update came out after 1.0, we went to 1.1, and we started digging targets, and we found out that because normally I had used fast because of the content, the iron content that I was seeing on my sites. So I would use fast, and I ran pitch, and did really well with it. In fact, in my last video, for you guys that want to go back and watch it, you'll notice that towards the end, I started using fast and pitch again in the heavy iron, just to see if I could sneak out some targets that I might have missed with sensitive full tones running my normal sweeper program. And I was able to retrieve, but what I'm saying is, even running pitch and fast, I was still seeing those 7, 8, 9s, and I had to discern or figure out whether that target was a mass target or whether it was a non-ferrous target. You know, and it was just, that's the one problem I have with the other programs because of the style of hunting I do. And Michael will agree with me. And here's, and we'll get off of this in just a second, but I just don't know why those other programs can't perform the same way that the sensitive full tones program performs on the Deus 2 and give you a better target ID. And when I see sensitive full tones and it locks in on an 86 or an 87, I know that that's a good signal. When I go over to fast or general or the programs that I've used in the past, and I see that 789 maybe mixed with an 86, 87, I'm sort of unsure whether that's going to be a good target or not.
Right.
And
I think it's a moment where, and I've just been thumbing through the machine just to see if we could like change the iron audio. Just like this is something you can do on the fly when you're in
right,
field. Is
right,
this just look at something like that? Yeah, there are some differences. Yeah, and it's all about how it. 'Cause, the sound that you hear or the number that you see is an equation,
right,
and it works out. And this is why you can sometimes see that objects that are non-ferrous that are much lower than they should be is potentially because you have like an iron object, not saying will be, but
right.
potentially nearby, and it can drag that number down just a little bit if the object is a amalgamation of ferrous and non-ferrous, bronze or
Sure, sure.
copper alloy, whatever. I think though this is a good place to look at sort of again detector philosophy. I mean, I think having a program next to another program can be very beneficial.
Right.
Where just a
And,
little
and
bit iffy, just
And
go
that's what
boom.
I do generally. I mean, I can flip over to fast and then flip over to my sweeper program, and I can probably figure out what that target is.
Right.
Really, is it really a mass target or is it a piece of iron? Is it a small nail? Is it a bent nail? Whatever it may be. Usually I can flip over and switch over to those things. Here's another thing that I'm real curious about that and see what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah.
The thought is, do you not believe that some of the numbers are sort of bunched too much together when you get into that 60 and 70 range versus anything else? We dig a
Yeah.
lot of targets. Michael knows this because
Yeah.
Michael heard me on the phone. He was probably ready to wring my neck. But when I was detecting, I was talking with him. I had my AirPod in while I was swinging over, and I was telling him the numbers. I said, Michael, isn't it so funny how many targets come in at 63, 64, 65, or come in at 72, 71, 70? And there's so many targets that seem like they get bunched up into that range.
Yeah. It really is.
Would it be a better idea possibly for XP to maybe expand that range and make
It's
it where it's more spread out?
it's something I've looked. It's something I've fed back as well. But again, detecting philosophy again. If we take the other big, well-known manufacturer, I can remember being in fields and it would come up as a 12, like bum 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 bum, center of the screen on a line,
Right.
like it looked like that on the screen, and I was like, that'll be a coin. I could name the date.
Sure.
you know
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But like another coin that's made of the same copper alloy composition would be the same. So you're really just saying, am I coin shooting or not? But I totally get where you're coming from. But that's just it's the nature of detecting, isn't it? It's like a lot of the
Well,
coins will be
it
very similar.
is. It is, Chris, and I understand that part. But again, I use other machines. Michael uses other machines, and what we see is maybe it is a good idea to have that range spread out a little bit more between the different types of targets. And I don't know. I don't know
Well,
what the remedy is for that. Michael, go ahead.
Go
Tell him
on.
what you've
well,
been seeing.
I saw the same thing where it's tight in the low 60s and the 70s. And my concern, when this HF coil comes out, you know what happened with the HF coil on the Deus one,
Right.
the VDI numbers, they were even
Yeah.
higher because it was a higher frequency. So is it going to tighten that up even more when we have an HF coil?
Right.
We can say that there is likely to be an update to the Deus hardware when
Yeah.
Right.
that new coil
Right.
is
And
released.
we've talked about that we feel like there's an update coming. And I've told people on here, and everybody that's on here can attest to this. I'm more excited about the update than I
Right.
really am about the coil, because I
Yeah.
want to see what they do to improve maybe the VDI numbers, maybe that problem with the 789. Are those going to be the things that really get sort of fine tuned and made even better? Now, again, I have no problem hunting with the machine the way it is, but if they're going to come out with something even better, then that's got me really excited.
Yeah.
To know or to think that that's what could possibly happen. There's a couple of questions on here, and I want to make sure that I get to them real quick, Chris.
Yeah.
This is from Rob. Rob says, hey, he says, ask Chris about how he deals with coke and hot rocks. Does he run into a lot of that? Because we don't deal with coke and hot rocks like you guys do over in the UK. Do you see that a lot?
We do, yeah. 25 to 31. You could notch it out if you want. I prefer to hear it just because, but I'll know that anything that comes up as 25 on my VDI or 31 or 30 thereabouts, I'll know that is almost certainly a hot rock. Sometimes it is like it is context specific, so it depends on where you are. So I get asked to go into some archaeological sites, and
Right.
you would be required to extract everything.
Right.
But yeah, that's the name of the game. It's 25 to 31. Usually it comes up as 30 to 31 though. We get it quite a bit, yeah. But it's also coke from like traction engines and things like that. You remember?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So
Digging Dude asked, he said, Chris, UK plow fields, do you primarily use single multi-frequency, or do you find yourself using single frequencies in certain situations?
that is a great question. So we find that people use the fast program quite a bit when it's it depends if it's a rolled field, and obviously it's horses for courses, same kind of thing. But if it's somewhere that has, say, you've got that furrow or the ridge, don't get it confused with ridge and furrow, but if you've got
Right.
something that is like sort of pitted and so on and so forth, you might find that they maybe a fast programs the way forward, because at the end of the day, the objects in the ground are going to be brought hopefully to the surface. The light stuff like the coins usually come up towards the surface as well. So fast programs really great for that. That's how we handle that.
Right. Well,
That's pitch, isn't it? Fast, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love
Yeah.
fast, and Michael knows. I mean, I pretty much cut my teeth with the Deus machine using fast and running pitch. I went to sensitive full tones, and I went with full tones because I love the audio of that particular setup. I feel like I get more tonal nuance. Some people would argue with me that they would say running fast and running pitch, you get tonal, but I don't see that as much. I also see that when I run fast and I'm running pitch, I tend to dig a little more iron than what I would normally dig if I was running sensitive full tones and full tones.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you see when you do that?
Yeah, same kind of thing. And do you guys, so this is to the wider community as well, do you find that when you're using, say, sensitive full tones, you can almost see around an object? Because you've got so much more information coming in, you've got 99 sounds, if I don't tend to have this showing to me, I put it in my pocket, for example.
Right.
I can kind of hear around an object. And that's what I think is the key to the sensitive FT.
Right. I like Matt, our buddy in Texas. He says we got hot cow pies here in Texas.
It's true.
And it is
I've
true,
run into
because
that. Yeah.
that'll add to mineralization of the soil.
Absolutely, bang on. Yeah,
it really does.
you get it. And you know what? You wouldn't believe the amount of times I, getting towards the end of a day, and I'm just like, I'll detect that cow, whatever, and it will go. Boop, 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 boop,
It gives a signal.
It does. Johnny Bottles says he avoids Coke and Hot Rocks. He said drugs are bad, kids. Detect Meister's got a good point. He says it would be great if XP can deal with the EMI better with the new update. And I agree with him. I do feel like the EMI is a little bit more pronounced on the XP machines versus some of the other machines that are out there. But you can deal with it. You know, you can go to a single frequency or, you know, you can try to switch frequencies and manually do it to try to eliminate EMI. But EMI it seems like EMI has always plagued multi-frequency machines. There are some that deal with it a little better than others. And, you know, if they can do it, you know, if anybody can do it, it's going to be XP. So,
yeah, I've got a comment there. You haven't asked my opinion, but definitely I'm going to give an opinion on this one.
Go ahead.
It's all about, like, we've had the main commercial updates. Okay, so before 0.60, we had like 0.3 and so on, blah 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 blah, but we had 0.71 would have it seems to be not more measured. I'm not saying one thing's better than the other. I always say, you know, go with the latest you know, firmware or what have you. But you know, you will find that there is, you know, things are a little bit embryonic. You know, you'll have things that are supposed to be very much a vast improvement, but you might find maybe there is like an earlier program. If you live in an area and you're thinking, you know what, the Deus 2 is very chatty, you might find if you go to the 0.71 program, and isn't it great? You can go on the web and just do it. Isn't that fantastic?
Right, exactly.
And you can just bang that in about 10 seconds flat. Don't quote me there. And you can try it out, and you may well find that it is a much more suitable affair than, say, 1.0. And everyone knows that 1.0 was a very hot way of doing things. It was very strong, very punchy, much deeper. And then it came out with 1.10, and that was, say, you know, looking at all the best features of 1.0, and then 1.1, 1.0, and also 0.7 and 0.6. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge. But yeah, try 0.71 if you're having any trouble at all. EMI is we're talking about emerging tech, aren't we, guys? You know, we're getting through it. It'll improve.
Yeah. And you know, I'm sure XP is aware of that, and I know that they would definitely address it if they thought it was a real bad, serious issue. But again, I usually flip around on the channels to try to find the channel that really eliminates it even more without doing the frequency scan. Or you know, if it's really bad, I'll just go to a single frequency. I can hunt in a single frequency with no problem with the XP Deus 2, just like I did with the XP Deus 1. So to me, it's just it's not an issue, but I can see where it could be an issue for some people. CZ Digger brings up a great point. He says Full Tones has the ability to build a picture in your head once you get a handle with it. He says XP Deus 1 really opened that up for me, and that's the way I was too. My Deus 1, I was so attuned to those sounds and running it in that fashion, whether it be pitch or full tones. That's how I learned that machine. Go ahead. What you want to say? Yeah, the
ground stabilization. Just referring back to, you know, if you're having, you know, kind of, you have like a hot mineralized soil, you may find that if you just tap the GB button, you will find that there's a ground stabilizer in there. You may find just altering that is a really quick way of just you know, banging a solution in.
Right. And again, it's to me, from what I've heard from Philippe and what I've heard from XP, this new update, I think, or at least I'm hoping, I don't know for sure, I'm thinking that we're going to see some of these things that we're talking about right now. I think we're going to see some of those things addressed. And Michael and I have talked about that on here quite a few times. And I think that this high frequency coil, I think it's going to be a game changer. Philippe has alluded to eventually we're going to get some even better audio on the machine, even though I love the audio right now. But wow, to think that we're going to get even better audio than what we're listening to right now, to me is simply fascinating. And then I'm also looking forward to the update. You know, what are they going to change from 1.10 and 2.0? What are they going to go to? What's going to be some things that are going to be addressed or sort of picked at? And, you know, I would love to know. Of course, he hasn't told me, but would love to know what some of those things are. And I'm so looking forward to it because I think it's just going to be fascinating.
I have people from around the world who have been leaving me voice messages and stuff like that saying, you know, where's the coil, when's it going to happen, and so on and so forth. And you know what? It's the same it's the same reasons every time. It's the Treasure Coast Floridians or anyone who's in an area where
they want gold.
This new high frequency coil is probably going to really change beach detecting. You know, I'm a guy who uses the 13-inch coil on flat sand, and I will just do that all day long. But then I don't go out. It's not like my primary like entertainment, if you like. You know, if you're going out and all you're doing is you're finding some really great stuff on beaches, you want to find those little small chains, and this is where you're going to find that higher frequency is really going to help you out here, and it's going to make it more accurate as well, because we all know that anything that has a circle on it can be interpreted by any machine as being anything.
Definitely. Well, I think this high frequency coil, especially for you guys hunting for small gold, okay? I believe that on the beach, when this HF coil comes out and you're out there finding those thin gold chains, those earring backs, those little small slivers of gold that you weren't able to get before, I think you're going to be going, oh my gosh, I know why I need this coil.
I think you will. I tell you what, everyone, me and Brian were chatting about this all through last year. Okay.
Right.
And do you remember me sending you a message around about August or something like that? And I was saying to you, if this coil hasn't been demoed in my hands, I will eat my hat and then I will eat your hat.
Yeah.
I haven't yet. I know people who have held it, but I haven't yet seen it. I know what color it is. It's white.
Yeah, it's gonna be white. Yeah, we all know.
I can tell you that much.
What do you think? Do you think the holdup is the actual coil, or maybe the update for the machine, Chris?
No. I mean, I'd just be guessing, but I would suspect it's the very age-old trope of we have customs and excise in different governments which are negotiating trade deals. We're having things like that. I ordered some stock from XP that's arrived from Toulouse, and it was just apparel. You know, it took like 2 months. So sometimes it can be something completely outside of the manufacturer's control. And remember, at the end of the day, we're not talking about sign off of like whether we can put a battery in a coil or in a shaft or whatever. We're not talking about a problem like that. We're not talking legislation. That would have been nailed like a year ago. This is going to be more like there is a boat with 800 batteries on it. With marked XP. Can it go? Yes or no? Hopefully it won't be too long.
Well, hey, Chris, this brings up another point since you brought up the battery.
Ah, damn it. I walked into that one. Yeah. In the shaft or not?
Let's talk about that for a minute now, because we all know that the Deus 1 had the HF coil with the battery inside the shaft. Here's the real question. Is this going to be waterproof if we stick that battery in the shaft on this new machine?
So, from the information that I have learned, it appears from the photographs and things that I've seen that the tooling appears to be the same. I'm not saying it is, but XP have a good history of reusing. I'm trying to my machine. Oh, here we are.
I got mine too. I'm gonna grab mine real quick.
This is like 10 years old. You know, the idea behind it. It's been changed. It looks better. In fact, this is a Deus 1, for example. So I was just saying, Brian, that this is like, this bit is been around forever. And so if something works really well, then they're probably going to do the same thing. But are they? I don't know. I mean, look how small that is.
But that's the thing, though. If this is going to be the size and the shape of this coil, and you're going to take this thing and you're going to put the battery up in the shaft, and of course, if I were to take this, y'all can't see that, but I were to take
what
that,
you're saying is it going to maintain the 66-foot rating as the other coils, right?
Yeah, right. Because what are we going to get when we put that battery up inside this shaft and then we try to seal it? Is it going to be a shaft that's sealed? Is it battery compartment going to be sealed to make it waterproof? What are we going to get to do that with this new HF coil?
You know what? I have seen in the time where the Deus 2 has been released that there have been subtleties in the battery tech and the not necessarily the PCBs, but what makes this work. There are very subtle changes, and we may find that there is possibly going to be the battery inside the coil itself, and it will retain its standard, no problem at all, because battery tech is perhaps a lot better than it was back then, and retains the same level of ohms per hour. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one.
Yeah, well, and I don't know either. Michael and I have been, and I apologize, Michael and I have been pondering that for the last few months, haven't we, Michael? We've been wondering what is it? How are they going to do that? History Digger seems to think it will be submersible, but I don't believe that either. I think they're gonna make it waterproof because the machine is rated for being waterproof. Why would they make a coil that they can't use in the water when the machine is rated for 66 feet deep?
Right.
I think they're going to have to, man. And that could possibly be something too that's a holdup as well at this point. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. And that's been a question that Michael and I have been pondering as well.
I think it's going to be related just to customs and shipping. I reckon that's the reason. We're not looking at legislation at this stage. I can't see it. Can't see it being that case. There has been. See, XP like to remind me that there's been other detectors from years ago. There was one that was released where if somebody turned it on one day, like people just turned it on one day, and the government had banned that frequency in the airwaves, not in the UK, but different country. So it's a hot topic along a lot of detectorists and detectors that it's important to get some things sorted out like well in advance. So it's gonna be a shipping thing.
Right. CZ Digger says it uses 9x5 coil, but did you go diving with it? That's the thing. Did you take it down 16 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, whatever? Is that going to be a coil that you can use as a diving coil as well? Because I think that's gonna be something that people are gonna ask, and they're gonna want to know right out of the gate. Hey, can I take this thing under the water and use my bone conduction headphones and everything else? So that's something that maybe I need to just ask them, but it is something that I think a lot of viewers and a lot of people that love to get in the water with the machine are going to want to know, hey, can I dive with it with this battery up in the shaft?
Those bone conduction headphones, by the way, I've got a friend who lives in a country nearby, and I visit occasionally, and he's tried out the bone conduction headphones. He's hard of hearing, and he says it's an absolute game changer. You don't get that full audio, but you get square audio. And I think one of your I think one of the people in your chat was talking about what type of audio I prefer and people like, and I think square audio is a real win because it's like that, to be honest, MindLab audio plus some Deus bits in it as well. So you can't do PWM with the bone to conduction, but you can get very close to it. And I prefer PWM because again, it lets you see around the target rather than give you a thing. But if I was detecting a park, and I have done, like say like one of these like late 19th century parks in the States, for example, I'm dime hunting or whatever, I would bang it on square audio for that.
Right. I like Drummond Detect says he says I'm no turtle. He says he's not going under the water with it, but it is going to be interesting. And what do you think would be a great program, and how do you think you're going to utilize the HF coil in the UK?
I thought you were going to ask me which program do I use when I'm diving.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to do that to you.
It's too cold for that where I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people are interested in this coil, and we all know that, and that's why we're talking about it right now, because this is the hot topic right now. We're speculating on this coil, but we want to know what we're going to do with it once we get it, and how we're going to utilize it best for our sites, not only here in the United States, but here in the UK. How are you going to utilize it? And what do you think is going to be the programs and things you might pick up on? Is it going to change? That'll be the other question.
Right. There could be a totally different program we'll be using.
Program.
Yeah.
Let me show you this.
Yes, let's see it.
So this is a Roman it's a cobalt glass inlaid ring. I mean, it's not at the moment because the cobalt glass is here. For your viewers, you will probably not see this. You'll have to take my word for it. There's some blue. Take my word for it. Some blue glass. Okay.
It's a blue glass. Okay.
And it's got a picture of perhaps someone who with a spear or something like that. Now this ring, from period 2 to 300 AD, which I'm putting it through the processes it needs to go through now. This was located amongst so much iron, so much iron, and it wasn't found for maybe 20 years of detecting, and it just came up on a Roman site not too long ago as well. And the thought I have behind that is like, whenever you get a new toy, you want to try it out on some fields that you know and you love, and you will find if you can get that extra frequency. I think if you're getting up to, and I don't know what it's going to be, guys, okay, don't quote me on this, but let's just go on the Deus 1 philosophy. What was it, 80 kilohertz or something like that?
Yes.
Something like that. Let's say, like, at the moment I can go as far as 44, and I bet you anyone who had one of these when they first came out, the Deus 2, you probably went on mono and you wanted to do the frequency pitch to get it like an extra 2 or 3 kilohertz on top of what its max, and you can get it to whatever it is. I would end up probably going over some of my best sites, which are iron infested, with that elliptical coil. I think there's a real win with that. If XP came out with a concentric coil, that would be even better, like a hockey puck, like that kind of thing. We don't have that. What we have is the elliptical, and I will be using that on those sites that I think will really show it off.
Right. So one of our viewers here, Digging Dude, wanted to know I hear this quite frequently about plowed fields and how that changes when you hunt those plowed fields. What's your best? What do you feel like is your best program or settings that you use on your Deus 2 when you go out into those fields?
So when and this goes for a lot of ground around the world. When you're plowing, what you're doing is you're bringing up iron particles up to the surface. Okay, and this is actually a really good barometer for those who.
I got another question I want to ask you. You brought up something else too, but keep going.
It seems
Michael
to be a
knows what it
running.
is.
Mike, are you keeping him in check? There's a running theme going on here. So what you do when you got plowed soil, it brings up a lot of mineralization towards the surface.
Right.
Maybe not so much these days because we don't plow at 12 inches anymore. It's more like 10 or whatever. Blah
Right.
blah blah. I again, like it's the same kind of deal. I would use Sense CFT. However, I don't want to just give that answer all the way through. I have a good friend who runs the Deep HC program, all right,
Right.
and he uses that a lot in his pasture fields that have never been tilled or what have you.
Right.
And what they do is they change the max frequency setting. So I think it's something like 24 max frequency at the moment. What
Okay.
they do is they bang it up to 40 plus or whatever it is. And they are getting some really good results out of that.
Right.
That is something I'm very excited by when people were changing the maximum frequency. So, I mean, for me, again, Sense CFT, but for a lot of other people, if you've got that pasture, you want to go as deep as you can. So the manual implies that if you go to a sensitive program, that's number 2,
Right.
you can obtain greater depth than you could with perhaps other programs. But the Deep HC is also very, very useful. Clues in the name, and that works well. Remember, lower frequencies allow for greater depth, but you can really get some really good feedback with the 40
And
kilohertz.
lower frequencies also mean more battery usage too, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if I just get like a Amazon or some other kind of provider of a battery, and I just give it half an hour's charge, have a sandwich, that'll give me another hour's. This thing charges so quickly.
Here's a good question for you. What do you run your silencer on?
That's a good question. I'll tell you.
Okay, good.
I'll tell you. I can't remember at the moment. We've had Christmas and New Year.
Yeah,
And I've been really.
trust me, I get it.
I couldn't tell you. All right.
I run mine on 1 or 0. That's where I pretty much leave mine, just to give you a heads up on what we do. But I'm curious as to what might work in the UK.
It's largely the same. Looking through here, looking what I've got. I'm just looking at the programs I use. What I do is I put my programs side by side. So again, I run a lot of Sense CFT things. But what I might also do sometimes, let's just turn that off for a sec.
Yeah.
What I do is I'll resave the same program and just put it in whatever setting it is, and then I'll put a 1 next to it, and then I'll do the same program and then put a 2 next to it, and then I will there'll be some subtleties. I can quickly at a press of one button just go boom, silence of that, boom, silence of this, that kind of thing. But it's around about 1 as well. The sites that I hunt are very similar to colonial ones.
Right. Well, and I tend to run mine a little more wide open. Of course, I don't. I'm assuming you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I run that silencer at either 1 or 0. I found when I get up above 2, I start to mass targets. Yeah, I start to mass targets when I get above 2. So 1 seems to be working. And again, if we get a new update, maybe that changes in some form or fashion. I don't know. But 1 or 0 tends to be where I like to run my machine at, and it works really well running it between 1 and 0 in the heavy iron.
I've got a question for you guys and the community. I don't hunt very much woodland, but I'd love to. And woodland has a very kind of low pH as well. So, well, my opinion is does anyway. So we find there's a lot of relics that are preserved quite well. Okay, so I've seen on the Southern Relic Adventures and other communities loads. I mean, I love box plates. I love epaulets. For the community, I've the clues in the name. I really dig history.
Right. Yeah.
I really. not like you, Rob, not like the history digger, but like, I really am interested in those relics that we find in the best condition that we can show off to the world and show what a wonderful thing history is. So yeah,
Sure.
what do you do in woodland areas? How do you use it? And I'm talking any machine, not
Well,
just
I generally, I use exactly what I just said. I mean, I run the silencer open at either 1 or 0, and I will run sensitive full tones. I'm going to run 40 kilohertz, and everybody that's watched our channel knows I like 40 kilohertz. I've been told by XP that 40 kilohertz is better at unmasking in a lot of situations. And so I'm going to run 40 kilohertz. I'm going to run sensitive full tones. I'm going to run that silencer at 1.0. I might come down a little bit on the discrimination to maybe 6.4. I'm going to run the offset at right around 10. I'm going to run it that way. I run my sensitivity 93, 95. I can get away with that. I have very neutral soul in my area. So I can get away with that sort of sensitivity. I'm going to run that reactivity. I'll start at 2.5. If it's a lot iron, I might go up to 3. Heck, I even went up to 4 the other day when Surfside Dan was with me. So, I mean, I will even do that.
Will you go lower? Will you go for lower frequencies if you feel that you need to go a little bit deeper in woodland? Or do you keep it at 40?
I leave it at 40, and I'm going to be honest with you. I really haven't noticed a depth difference. And I think Michael will agree with me. I don't think I've noticed a depth difference between the 20 running the max frequency at 24 or running it at 40 or running it at 14 or 15, whatever it may be. I haven't really noticed that, but I know there are some people out there that's what they do and that's what they use, but I haven't noticed that quite as much. And Michael, what do you think about that?
I have, if I'm hunting a pasture or open ground, there's not a lot of iron. I have went down to 24 and sometimes 14.
But
Just,
do you feel like you're getting more depth running at that lower max frequency?
I guess it depends on what you're digging. If it's a high conductor like coins, you may get a little more depth, but buttons or relics like that, I don't think you're getting a whole lot of difference
Actually,
in depth.
that's a great point. So I reckon I'll rephrase what I said. I think is probably best here. So it's not so much the depth of the object. When we're talking like say a button, let's call it like and you guys know I love my buttons. So if you have like an early button, 1770s, that sort of thing, pre-soldered shank, this will be one that's a molded shank. So that's how it's been made. That's a copper alloy button. Not much tinning potentially with it. You're not getting like more depth. What you're doing is when it hits that target, it is making it more pronounced potentially, and that's again just detecting philosophy, lower frequencies and so on and so forth. That's how I would see that one.
Right. And everybody has heard me say this multiple times. You can go into a site and I can go in and I can adjust the setting that maybe I didn't use on the last time and go in and start finding things. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. You got to fiddle or fool around with some of those settings in order to make your machine perform the way you want it to in some cases. And running it at 24 kilohertz, running that max frequency a little bit lower, that could be the way to help you find something that you might have missed. Running a different program might help you find something that you might have missed. Using a different size coil might help you find something that you might have missed. Running in single frequencies might help you find something that you might have missed. Now, again, one thing that I'm always going to say on this, if you've only got one shot at a site, then that's a different story. But if you've got a chance to go back to a site, then you need to try to use different settings, different coils, different programs, go back to those sites. And I promise you, you're probably going to find something that you might have walked over the time before. And that's the amazing thing about the technology and what we have right now. And with the Deus too, because you've got so many of those features and settings, those are going to be the things that are going to help you find more artifacts, more relics in some of those sites that you've already been to and run a certain way or hunted a certain way. To go back into it and use it in a different fashion is going to help you in all of those sites.
What's the best time of year to search? Obviously, when it's not frozen, but you know.
Well, any time of the year is good for me. I don't have a problem.
Because
like
that's another factor, atmospherics. You know, if you have a lot of rain, you go out a day
well,
or
of
two
course,
later.
rain's going to accentuate a target, and that's something too that Michael and I have talked about over the last year, especially how there are so many variables out there to a site that it changes. It's just like hunting on the beach, and everybody that's on here that's a beach hunter will attest to this. Every time you go on that beach is different. It's changed because of the tides. And the same thing with going out to a relic site, it changes, maybe because of rain, because of moisture in the soil, maybe it's been tilled, maybe, whatever it may be. But the site changes and there's so many variables. That's why it's hard for me, especially with above ground tests that people do, is that I know that, that might give me a little bit of information, but it's still going to take me actually going out into the field and applying what I saw maybe on that test and then adjusting to that once I get out into the field. Again, there's no way to prove whether your test actually matches up with what you're seeing out in the field. There just isn't.
I'd love it to, but it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. And that's the fallacy in some of this. And again, every site is different. The ground conditions are different. There's all sorts of things that have to be factored into it before you're going to realize, hey, this is what's going to work on this site. You've got to go out and actually use the machine on a site and figure out how or what is going to be the best way to hunt. Are you going to find everything? No, you're never going to find everything.
Yeah.
Are you going to miss something? Yes, you're going to miss something. That's what makes all of this so fun.
Exactly. You hit it. The last few words there. Yeah. That's it. It's that I wake up and the day before I'm thinking about going out tomorrow. I've had to think about the site. I've had to look, the ground conditions are good. I've got my setup sorted. I'm ready to go. And on the way, as you say, it's just like, this is going to be the day. This is the time. This is the place. Right. I'm there. I'm all prepped. Let's go.
Right.
And that's how to look at things. It's fun. It's a hobby at the end of the day. I'm into preserving history as much as you, but like at the end of the day, I just like cool stuff. If I could find some epaulets, that came on like a Union or Confederate officer, I'd love that.
Right.
And
CZ Digger, he gets it. He understands. He says every hunt for me, any program I use gets tweaked for the site I'm on. I'm going to set it up for your site. So that's just the nature of the beast. You can go watch as many testing videos as you want, but I guarantee you it's not going to be the same thing on that site. And you have no way of knowing whether it's going to be the same thing on that site. You're the one who has to ultimately decide what settings are going to work on that site. It's just, that's just the way it is. And again, the Deus 2 is probably one of the best for configuration, for setting up, for giving you the features. Those are the things that you want to be able to do to adjust that machine to the site that you're on. And again, there are so many variables that people don't take into account when they're doing these tests. And they think, well, hey, I've got it figured out. Well, I guarantee you, I can go 1 mile up the road, and the dirt up the road is a lot different than the dirt right here in my backyard.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true. Well, and I've noticed this too. I can go to a field, in the springtime before they planted it and hunt it, and they plant the crop, and we're not talking about plowing the field. They may no till drill it, and
Yeah.
just over the time that crop grows and they harvest it, it disturbs the ground, and you can go right back to that spot, and you can
It's changed.
find it's changed. It's changed the composition of it. And
Yeah, it's changed it. And I'm sure that over in the UK that Chris is dealing with the same thing.
right.
Yeah. I've always struggled with the idea that a site is never hunted out. And I've got sites. I've got a few sites that I'm pretty sure are pretty close to hunted out. I've always struggled with that mantra, but it is true. It really is.
It
And that's
is
for all the
true.
new guys, all the new guys and girls watching. If you think that you've done it, you haven't.
You haven't.
Yeah, that's right.
You could zigzag, walk one way, walk another way. You're gonna miss targets. I don't care what machine you have in your hand.
Exactly.
You're gonna miss targets.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
If you have a set of cans on you, like the WSA2 XLs, they are very good for helping you find those targets.
Matt says, "Hey, does the phase of the moon make a difference?"
I think the color of the
If
t-shirt.
you're aware of
T-shirt.
Yeah, if you're aware.
What underwear are you wearing?
Yeah.
Right. And again, I'm not saying that these tests don't help in some form or fashion, but what I am telling you is that I've seen it way too many times where I think that I know the correct settings for a machine based off of a test, and then I go into a site and then I realize that's not going to work. I'm going to have to do something else. Every site is different. The soil conditions are different. There are so many variables, and there's no way to prove what's underneath that coil. So what makes you think that seeing a test is going to be the same thing that what you're seeing underneath the ground? It's just not. You can't prove it. You can't disprove it either.
This sounds like my other half trying to explain to me why I'm going out today.
Yeah.
I'm saying I've done all the analysis. It can't be wrong. I think there's a repeater rifle in that river.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So, but the Deus 2 really does give you the versatility of settings and being able to adjust a machine to a site and being able to go into a site and just decide, hey, this is what I need to do on this site, And again, a lot of this comes back to just knowing your machine, knowing your detector, whether it's a Deus 2 or whether it's another manufacturer. If you know that machine well enough, you're going to be able to be successful with it. And if you know how to set it up on a site, you're going to be successful with it.
I think attitude comes into play as well. Like if you're going into something feeling a little like you're not quite into it, you're not fully into it, I think you're going to miss those little sounds. I think that plays an important part is your attitude, remembering that it's just a hobby. You're out because you love doing the thing. Isn't that great? That's a good thing to keep in your back pocket.
Right. I like what Zapper says. He says the dirt up the road still has targets in it. The dirt at your house, all the targets are gone.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I don't know. I found a Roman coin in the boot of my car the other day, and I have no idea how they got in there. The trunk, sorry.
Luke Smith says, understanding the detector and broader metal detecting setup is so important and unfortunately overlooked by so many, especially those new to the hobby. And this sort of goes back to what I deal with every day. Everybody wants something right then, right now. They don't want to put in the work. They want to sort of be lazy about what they're doing. And you got to put in the work. It's just like anything else. The only way you get good at something is to put in the time with something.
Yeah,
and I'm a coach. And so I realize that. And you got to put in the time and the effort and the understanding of what you're doing to become successful at your craft, whatever it may be. And, the Deus too, it gives you a lot of options, a lot of things that can help you become successful. And that's what, to me, that's what separates it. They've been on this whole kick about uniqueness and versatility. Well, it has all those things. That's what makes that machine that successful, is because you do have that ability to be able to adjust it.
You like Matt's comment down there, Brian?
I'm trying to get down there. What did Matt say? He says, "Hey," he says, "I find nickels on the beach when there's a full moon." Seriously. Yes.
Well, he said hunting during a lightning storm could give you more day at 6 feet more.
Really? 6 feet more. Yes. They used to say, yeah, I see it. Hunting after a lightning storm, you can gain depth. That's what Greeny Meanie said. He says, Luke Smith said,
I have heard that.
He said, there's a reason that many treasure hoards in the UK are made by people new to detectors or detecting. They will try and dig everything. Sometimes you have to be careful what you mentally reject. And we've all been guilty of that.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So here's a point on that kind of thing. When you have occasionally you see in the news in Americas or wherever in the world, you hear of someone who's found in their cellar, a few gold coins or what have you. Doesn't matter how old they are necessarily, but they've been found by someone who's just like emptying out the trash or what have you.
Right.
The thing is that, if you're thinking of these hoards that are discovered, a lot of hoards are probably discovered. A hoard is, by the way, 12 or more coins, or 10 or more coins. Those might be found in a field, but a long time ago they might have been in someone's cellar 2,000 years ago. So the fact that people are finding stuff, just as an addendum to that, it's unsurprising the amount of 17th and 16th century stuff that's found in the UK, gold coins that are found in the cellars of people's houses, is more than you'd think, under the floorboards, because that's where you put it.
Right, exactly.
Why are you going to put it like 3 fields away when you don't have to?
Yeah, right. So, and Luke just brought up a good point too. He says, Chris, he said, we'll tell you every day you must see at least one post in our group. What's the deepest and best program, please? How do you guys respond to that comment?
Well, what's the deepest setting? Practice.
Right, exactly. And that's the other thing. If people would go out and actually use the machine rather than wait on somebody to give them the best program for the machine. And I know I've got the sweeper program, but the sweeper program is not the program for everyone. And it's not, and I've said this, it's not going to be the program that's going to work for everybody. It works for me, but that doesn't mean that it's going to work for you, because your soul conditions, where you're at, all of those things are factored into all of this. Your knowledge of the machine, all of those things are things that have to be figured in to figure out what's going to be the most successful for you. You're the only one that can decide that. Not me, not Michael, not Chris Counter over here, not any of us. You're the one who has to decide these are going to be the best settings for my area. And it takes practice, it takes experience, it takes knowing the machine. And those are the things that will make you successful as you move forward in your journey with your metal detector. It just is.
Totally agree. I think you should run a YouTube show, honestly.
Yeah. Right. So some people said, hey, have you utilized any books by Andy Savage? Andy Savage, originally, when he first came out, he had some great information. I think what we're finding out is that a lot of people have gravitated away from books and they're coming over to YouTube to gather a lot of that information, a lot of that data in order to figure out. But Andy does do a good job on his books as well. Digging Dude says deepest. He said try a Nexus, and the Nexus is a deep machine. We know that, single frequency, but performs extremely well. Luke Smith says, hey, he says, that's very true. And he says that to the History Digger. The History Digger says, he says, oh my God, he says, how many questions are there easily answered in black and white in the manual? Right. And that's the other problem. A lot of us don't do. We don't read the manual. We just
don't read the manual.
Want to pick it up and go. And I get that. I really do. I mean, and how many times have we heard the machine turn on and go? I mean, we've heard that saying, turn on the machine. And you can do that. I mean, you really can with a Deus 2 or with a lot of machines. You can just turn on and go because the technology has progressed to such a point that you can do that. You can go on and turn on the machine, and you can go out there and hunt, and you're going to find things without touching anything. But again, the more you learn that machine, the better you're going to be with it. And learning those settings and features that you have on those machines are going to make you a successful detectorist, whether it be a Deus 2 or whether it be any other manufacturer. But those things can help you in a lot of great ways, and hopefully lead to maybe a few more finds as well along the way. Let's see here. What I take from these programs are just potential starting places for me to possibly try on sites. Right. And that's what they're there for. History Digger says, granted, he said the fonts in the manuals are small. They are small for sure. For definitely sure. YouTube is the manual now for a lot of people. Right. You know, a lot of people just want to be able to get that information just like that. We live in that self-gratification. I want it now. And turning on YouTube really does make it easy for a lot of people. And but I would also encourage you at the same time, don't be sheep. Be your own person. Find your settings that work for you.
Join the Deus 2 group.
Right. Join the Deus 2 group. Get information that way. Go out and try those things, and then see what works for you. That's just the way it is. Gene Gilstrap says, hey, I needed the manual on the MI6 to figure out how to change things.
I know.
Yeah. That was kind of impossible to figure out. Matt says, hey, turn on and go is my motto, and factory settings is the way I travel. I hate reading, so no manuals for me. And that's fine. You know, if it works for you and you don't want to fool with those settings, you don't have to. You can go out and you can use this machine just the way it is. That's the beauty of what we have today, is that we do have that opportunity to be able to use that. Michael, what do you think? What are you going to say? I know you want to say something.
I was going to say, I saved that MI6 manual on my phone, the file. Because I had, you know, if you hadn't used it in a while, it takes you a little while to figure out how to switch to the programs and everything. So I'll save the manual on my phone. It is, but you forget if you don't use it. You know, in no time.
And that is some little fun on there, Chris.
I would like to see, by the way, if we could have the vibrate function on for what is it that the MI6 doesn't do? I can't remember right now. There's something it doesn't do when you've got it paired up to your remote. I can't quite remember what it is at the moment. I really hope a future update allows it to do that. It might be vibrate, like you can hear the audio and it vibrates at the same time. I think that might be it.
Yeah. My buddy Rob, he's the MI6 guru, is what I call him. The few times we've gone out to dig stock, I've always referred people to Rob. I said, look, if you want to know how to use the MI6, go see Rob. Yeah. I'm not messing with that MI6. But Rob is excellent with that. And he's got some great tutorial videos, the History Digger does, on running the MI6, how to mess with the functions, features, and so on. Go check out the History Digger. I know he would appreciate it, but he does do a great job of explaining it and showing that as well. Drummond the Tech did like you did, Michael. He says, hey, I took a picture of it.
Yeah.
And History Digger says, yeah, just realize it doesn't vibrate when paired.
Yes.
So yeah, that's another thing. So again, great things. So guys, we've been on here for a good while, and I know I've ranted and raved, and hopefully I didn't bore anybody along the way.
I'm still here.
Yeah, you're still here. Okay. And it seems like we've got almost 60 people that are still here tonight that are still tuned in. So
Mike didn't disappear either at any
point. No, hey, this is a record that Mike stayed on here, that Michael stayed on here the whole time without glitching out, and he stayed clear.
Yeah, bring the good-looking guy from the UK back.
Yeah, there you go. Bring the good-looking guy from the UK back. Oh, so that's awesome. So we want to do a giveaway.
Thank you.
All right.
What did we say?
Okay. What do you got here, Chris?
Well, I can give 2 red official XP Red Deus 2 hats.
Okay.
And I can give 2 XP phone pouches. And I think we'll just give like a sticker or 2 as well, because I don't want to take too much out of the fact we're on a beautiful show.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really have my giveaway tool the way I normally do. So, but we can do it one way. We can tell everybody to go on and leave a comment on the most recent video, and I can put that up here so everybody can see it. Let me share my screen.
And then I can take the names and spin a thing one day, live, or whatever you want to do.
Let me hang on one second here. Do you have a giveaway thing that you can do?
Not live right now.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's okay.
Actually, I could probably make something happen. Oh, come on, let's make it happen. Maybe if people put it in chat.
Well, we can do it my way. I mean, I can do it with the video, with my video, and they can leave a comment over on the video, and we can do it that way. And I can pull the comment just for the ones that they are posting. So let me grab this video real quick, and I'll put that up there, and then we'll do it that way.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll do that, and then I'll take leave because it's getting towards 2 a.m. in the morning.
Right? Yeah, I know it is. All right, so let me go here. I know it's late. I appreciate you, Chris, staying on here with us tonight and being a part of our show. All right, so can you guys see the video? So I need you to go over onto the video that says metal detecting an old home site. So you might have to flip over, dating back to 1750. Okay, and I need you to, I should have had this already done, but I didn't. But I need you to go over and leave, what is it? Deus 2. We'll make it simple. Deus 2.
Dig or DIIG?
Yeah, we'll just say Deus 2 group, and we'll make it all one word. How about that? Will that work? And we will show that. Everybody see that? Wait a minute. Hang on. Everybody see that? And go leave that over on the comment section of the video that you see on YouTube. Metal detecting an old home site dating back to 1750. And we'll give them a few minutes. And while they're going over and leaving the comment, we will we'll continue on for just a few minutes and let everybody get a chance to get in. So, Chris, what is going to be something that you're looking forward to in the coming months? Do y'all have any big metal detecting events in the winter or in the early spring?
We've always got a few weekenders coming up. We always have that. It's one of the things that everyone looks forward to. Straight out the blocks in January. There's always something going on. I haven't got anything in particular I'm looking forward to at the moment. Every single year, I like to put on, just for the team members that are the people who moderate the Deus 2 group. Every year, I like to put on an event, a private event, where I'll find the best land I can in the UK, and I'll put them all on it for like 2 or 3 days. And we have a really great bunch of fun. So we've got a great site in September we're looking to go to. So that's one of the big things I'm pushing forward at the moment. We've got a beautiful multi-period site where we've got some Celtic things come up, some Roman stuff. We've got a 17th century manor house or country house that's now demolished, and so on. So that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to this year.
Okay. Anything special going on with the Deus 2 group that you got coming up that you might want to share?
We're gonna have probably a bigger giveaway. So every year we like to do like maybe a couple of big giveaways. So more information on the Deus 2 group. So if you pop the post into the chat there of our link. Twice a year we like to put a bigger giveaway on. So we're giving away things like the XP Finds pouch, which is a really great thing. That plus a few other trinkets that go with it as well, creating a nice little package. That's something that we'll be doing pretty soon, not too sure exactly when. Go Terrain's probably going to have another update quite soon as well, I would suspect, so we're going to be celebrating that as well. But mainly it's all about the coil. It's all about the new coil. The moment that comes out, hopefully I've got it in my house and I'll be looking forward to going out with it and sharing those finds with you guys, how it works.
All right. So I hate to even ask you, but what do you think? What do you think is going to be one of the giveaways that could possibly be a giveaway?
Well, for us, I've said for a little while that I don't like just giving away metal detectors. I know that would be a thing that everyone would love, and I'd love to do that too. But I think just giving away like a metal detector and stuff like that. I mean, if you're already part of a group, I think it's better to celebrate with lots of small things, and like everyone can share in it. So usually every single month we have what we call it XP finds. I mean, well, they call it XP finds, don't they? XP. But if you are on my group and you put hashtag XP finds on any finds photograph that you've put up, so it doesn't have to be something magical. It could be something that's quite, basic if you like. But if you're putting that out and it's something you care about, you pop that on there. Every single month we do a giveaway. And I usually give away a red cap. But this last month just gone, on the 3rd of January, I did a live video where we gave away, I don't know, what was it? An XP Finds pouch. We got an XP phone holder, a couple of hats, 4 or 5 stickers, and so on. And we've also got clothing on the site as well. So, yeah, that's something I would like to advertise more than anything else. It's everyone coming together from around the world and sticking that tag down there, not just because you'll win something, but just because it will show up around the whole of social media. Your XP find. It's cool. So, how about you guys? You got anything planned?
Well, we're gonna have a couple of hunts coming up. Naturally, we are hoping to debut the HF coil, hopefully coming up in the next month or two. And we're hoping we're actually going to have Philippe on here, and we're hoping to get a little more information about the Deus 2 HF coil. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be something really good. We're going to be doing our regular live streams on Friday nights at 7:30. So we're hopefully going to get back into a schedule with that as well. And I think everybody's going to be super excited to us to be back on a regular schedule, which we haven't been able to do over the last couple of weeks as well. So, but yeah, so it should be good. We had some great finds. If you guys want, one thing I will recommend, and while we're sitting here waiting for everybody to sort of get their name in, appreciate that Prospectors Cash for the super chat of $5. Thank you so much. That will help out for the channel. Remember, all donations, all super chats, all those things go straight back into the channel. A couple of other things too, Chris, before we get off of here. We're going to plug a couple of things. Number one is our membership page. If you would like to help out and contribute to our page, all you got to do is scan that QR code, and that will get you in on our membership channel.
That's great.
Which we will be revitalizing. We didn't do anything last month. I was planning on doing it towards the end of the month, and we sort of got sidetracked. But our membership page allows people to be able to ask questions directly to me or to Michael. We also will do a live stream once a month just with those members. We sometimes feature some of our videos and things before we actually release them on YouTube. So that's another way that we go about using our membership page. And again, during that live stream, you can ask any of those questions. And then we're going to have some special giveaways for just those members only. If you sign up for it, you don't have to. We're going to be here. All it does is help support an independent YouTuber like myself, and just support us in a very positive way. And we appreciate anybody that signs up for a membership. And you get a little badge that actually shows up on any comments that you leave on our page. So we appreciate it on our page and on our channel. So we appreciate that. And if you are interested, you can sign up for that. Also, one other thing too I want to feature is our buddies at LMS Metal Detecting. He is our favorite dealer in this area. He can get you hooked up with anything metal detecting related, whether it be a shovel or a metal detector, a pinpointer, whatever it may be. Mike at LMS Metal Detecting can get you definitely hooked up with some stuff. And I don't get anything from him. He's just a good friend of mine. And he will definitely get you rocking and rolling with the latest equipment. He does a great job on his page. It's very organized. You can go and you can find just about anything and everything. He actually, if you ever come to South Carolina and you come to the Myrtle Beach area, he can actually even rent you a machine if you don't want to bring your machine on the plane or on the trip. He can actually rent you a machine so you can go out and you can metal detect down on the beach. So he's got all of those things there for you. But definitely check out Mike, and we would appreciate that. And one other plug, check out XP. You know, if you want the latest and greatest and want the latest newsletter from XP, go to their website, sign up for a newsletter, and you can get all the things related to the new HF coil or anything that XP has going on. So definitely check them out and give them a subscription to the newsletter. And I think you will find that to be very beneficial. And for those of you that are waiting on that HF coil, I think you will enjoy that as well. So that's it. That's all the plugs I got. What do you think, guys?
Yeah,
wonderful. Love it. Love
it. All right. So let's see if we can do our YouTube comment picker is what we're going to do. So let me get over here real quick, and let's see if we can set up a filter here. All right, and we're going to use Deus 2 group, which we put in here. Continue. We have 21 comments that left Deus 2 group. So hopefully everybody's got in that wanted to get in, and we're going to share that drawing. Hang on one second. We're going to stop screen sharing here, and we are back. And now we're going to share our YouTube random comment picker. And let's see here. Hang on 1 second. Let's get rid of this. And all these QR codes. I got a lot going on here, guys. All right. So we're going to share our YouTube random comment picker screen. And we might have to do it a few times. Is everybody seeing the screen? There we go. So now we got to pick a winner. Let me pull this over here to the.
So was it 2 hats, 2 XP phone holders? Let's go with that.
Do you want to do, is it going to be just one or is it going to be multiple?
Multiple. So
Okay.
so we'll do 4 winners in total. First 2 XP phone holders, and then the next 2 XP hats. What do you reckon?
Okay, here's my other question, Chris. Do you want them to send me their address, or do you want them to send it to you?
Honestly, I don't mind. Whatever you think is good.
They can send it to me, and let me put my email address up there for them to have a way. My email is SRA in South Carolina, NSC @gmail.com, which you see in the bottom left-hand corner. And we are going to pick our first winner. Are we ready? Y'all ready, guys?
Yeah. Ready.
Yeah, let's rock and roll. Let's pick us a winner. And our first winner is going to be Keegan. Keegan NM6146. And Keegan is a great supporter of the channel. So that is awesome that he got in, and he
phone holder for you.
Okay, so Keegan, you are getting a phone holder.
It's a pouch. It's actually a pouch. It's
do you have a picture of it, or do you have something there to show?
I wish I had, but
so Keegan wins. Keegan wins a phone holder. All right. So, all right, Keegan is out. We're going to pick another winner here. Okay. So Keegan was the first winner. Keegan, send me your address at sransc@gmail.com. Let's pick another winner. We have 20 comments. We took Keegan out. Let's see who's going to be our next winner, which is going to be Gary and the Goose Detecting.
What a name.
Yes, Gary and the Goose. Congratulations, Gary. What does Gary win tonight, Chris?
He's going to win also a XP phone holder. The next 2 will be XP red hats.
Okay, so Gary wins an XP phone holder. Congratulations to Gary and the Goose. Congratulations, Gary. Thank you so much for being a part of our channel. So we now have 19 comments to pick from. So let's pick our next winner. There it is. There's what the phone holder looks like. So you can put your phone in and attach it to any bag, or attach it to your belt buckle or loop or whatever it may be. Let's pick our next winner, and it is for a hat, right, Chris?
Oh, yes.
All right. So next we have an XP Deus 2 hat. We're going to pick a winner there. And here we go. And it is CZ Digger. Congratulations, CZ. All right,
nice
buddy.
One.
So he is the proud winner of a Deus 2 red hat. And CZ is a great supporter of the channel as well. So we're all super excited about CZ winning a nice prize from the Deus 2 group. All right, and this is the last one, right, Chris?
Yep, another hat.
Last one, we got another hat for someone. We have 18 comments to pick from. We're going to pick a winner here, and that is going to be Detecting Rebel. Is that Aggie?
It is.
Yeah.
That dang Aggie. She always wins something. Remember, all of the winners, please send me your addresses to sransc@gmail.com so I can forward that to Chris and get Chris hooked up with those addresses so he can send you those prizes. Again, we appreciate Chris being willing to do that. guys, go check out if you're on Facebook, go check out the Facebook Deus 2 group as well. And we would greatly appreciate it. Chris has been gracious enough to come on our live stream tonight and share with us his knowledge and share with us all the things that are going on his page on Facebook. And we really appreciate his group. They have been a big supporter of our channel, and we're glad to be a big supporter of them as well. So, guys, what do y'all think?
Good show tonight.
Good show. We enjoyed it.
It was a great show. I know we got into a lot of different things. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight and being a part of our show. Please, before you leave, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Go check out the Deus 2 group on Facebook with Mr. Chris Counter. He can get you hooked up with all sorts of great information. See some fantastic finds from all over the world, not just in the UK, but also here in the United States.
Absolutely.
As we contribute over there as well. And again, it's always fun to have Chris on here. And we're looking forward to some great shows coming in the future. So again, we're looking forward to having XP on here and Philippe, which we've had on here before. And Philippe is looking forward to sharing some great information as we get closer and closer to the debut of that HF coil, which I know a lot of you are chomping at the bit for. And a lot of you are just sitting there with bated breath, ready to spend your money and make that a part of your arsenal coming up real soon. Michael's been saving his money. I've been saving my money. Chris, you've been saving your money?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're all saving our money, ready for that new coil, ready to get out there and go hunting. Again, hopefully we shared some information that each and every one of you can take out in the field and start using as soon as possible. And that's what makes this so fun. We have an amazing group of people that come on this live stream every single time. We appreciate you. You are the backbone of what we do. I've got more great hunts coming. Michael's going to be with me hopefully really soon. Maybe one day Chris can get over here and he can be with us really soon.
Sooner than you think.
Yeah, there we go. So we'll take Chris out. I'll throw him in the woods and in the swamps. We'll see how he does. He's used to all that field hunting.
See how tough he is.
Yeah. For sure. We'll throw him in the woods with the alligators and the bobcats and bears and panthers and all these crazy exotic animals we have in
I'll
there.
be fending
Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot for sure. Guys, you guys are awesome. Thank y'all so much. Chris, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate you. Michael, you know I love you, buddy. You're awesome. Thank you for being here tonight with us. And again, all of you have a great and fantastic weekend. And we'll catch you guys really soon on our next adventure, which is coming really soon for everyone. So be ready for that. And again, you guys are amazing. Thank y'all so much. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon. Take care.